Morning, everybody. I'm working on a 2003 Skidoo 800 Summit 800. I think it's an extreme HO version of it. And we're having problems with the carburetor. It seems to be flooding on a regular basis. The spark plugs are coming out kind of oily and black, and the carburetor is dying kind of at idle. So I pulled the carburetor yesterday and I took a look at everything. I made sure all the passages, all the jets and all the bowls and stuff were clean, and that the O-rings on the bowls are seating properly. When I talk about the O-rings, I'll show you later what I mean, but they're just a little tiny little O-ring that sits right in the bowl of the carburetor, and so when the needle comes up, it shuts that bowl, and when the needle's coming up because the fuel's going in, right? But for some reason it's not stopping. It just seems to be pushing through that needle, and I've heard a couple things about what could be happening. One, they say that if the tank is plugged, if the vent for the tank is plugged, and that's the fuel tank, then the gas will expand, the gasoline, the vapors will expand, and it'll push fuel through the fuel pump and overpressure the carburetor. But I don't think that's happening. This sled has what they call a DPM setup on it, and what it uses vacuum pressure to pull fuel from the bowls of the carburetor. So it pulls it up into the carburetor body somehow, and then sucks it back up into the infold, or the intake air silencer, the air box. So I think that might be the problem. And this thing, apparently this DPM works off of pressure and temperature, and the barometric pressure is measured through the MPEM, which is it's a computer that runs the machine, and it also takes in the temperature into account. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the temperature checks and just make sure that if it is a temperature sensor, that's an easy fix. If it's something more complex, then we're going to have to dive into it. I might have to go into the carburetor, relook at the jetting. The standard jetting on the Skidoo 800, the 793 HO motor, is supposed to be 400 for the main jet and 17.5 for the pilot jet. And that's, I don't know what units they're using. I think it might be micrometers, but it's definitely not quite. I don't think that the jets in there are stock. So we'll go through the whole program here, and I'll show you what the technical data looks like, and then we'll go and test everything out, and we'll make sure the sled starts running right, because right now we can't have it stalling in the middle of the trail or middle of the backcountry, wherever we are, right? So let's have a look at the technical specs, and then we'll go through and do some checks on the sled.